Hello and welcome to the Footy Times, where we provide an in-depth analysis and diverse feedback on all stuff football related, with a dash of banter. We have all spoken or heard about the hashtags on Twitter: Ollie in, hashtag Ollie out, hashtag Arteta out, and then obviously hashtag Lampard, who eventually was out. So today, our topic of discussion includes whether top clubs should employ ex-players and give them the job of managing their team despite having limited experience. But before we get started, if you feel you agree with the comments of our panel, or for that matter, have an alternate point of view, feel free to let us know in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and also let us know of the topic of interest that you'd like our panel to explore next. So here's a quick view of our questions that will structure our discussion today. So without further ado, let's move on. So, you know what? The owners and the club's board of directors are the decision makers for the club. So, what does an owner appoint? I mean, when an owner is appointing an ex player, what is he actually looking for? I mean, why would he do that? It looks like a very risky move. Nisar, what do you think?
So yeah, my personal opinion is there is a definite amount of romanticism involved in the move. It is the best way to appease fans, uh, and it automatically gives that there is not going to be a lot of backlash because people want the conversion uh, of like that romantic dream of having ex-player do like replicate his good form into management. So I think that is what owners look for pretty much.
Yeah, I think on that seems to be the trend for the most part, right? Like you've seen with especially like you mentioned, Ole, Manchester United definitely seem to be leveraging that in order to because there was a lot of pressure on them before with Mourinho, with Van Gaal. You know, we all know of fans. They got behind Van Gaal's back, they're shouting attack and all of that. So I think that helps. And also there is coupled with the fact that they have some credit with the fans, I think it's also a question of since they are new to management, they probably feel that they're not going to demand too much or constantly be at odds with the board, or basically they're going to be, it does sound negative, but in some ways they're going to be yes men. And I think that is very relevant to Ole. That seems to be the case where he's just very happy to be in the job. And there doesn't seem to be a lot of, I don't think like the way Van Gaal and Mourinho challenged the board, because these guys are winners. They've already done it. They have certain expectations, and if they're not going to be met, they're not going to take it lying, and they're going to just go out to the media or whatever. So I think those are the two main things for me why an owner would appoint an ex-player. Now, yeah, I don't know if people have any contrary opinion to that, or is there anything else you guys want to add?
I think that, I think Abhinash makes a really good point. I feel like the players end up being a conduit between the managers, I mean, the owners and the fans. Essentially, if you lose your fans, you're not, it's not going to be good for management. It kind of drives, what do you call, brings down sales and all of that. What do you call it? Makes those, you know, it's not a good position to be in if you're the owner of the club. It doesn't look good for your share owners and stuff like that as well. So I think there's a huge. I'm kind of, the word escapes me, but it's a
Incentive.
bigger topic for now. Yeah, it's a bigger thing than what we actually look at as football fans, for that matter. But I mean, does anyone have any? Yash, do you have any a contrary argument as to,
Or
like,
any yeah.
the owners appointing an ex player? As in, what else would they be looking for?
Yeah, I feel that it depends on what the club or where they want to, how they want to see themselves playing in future, right? It's not something that happens like overnight. So, if you have a certain way of playing football, then and if a manager knows or he has been through that, maybe that can be a factor which can decide that or yeah, which can influence your decision on uh, why you would go with the next player.
I guess, yeah, you're referring to probably something like club DNA or whatever they talk about. Like they
Right.
know they've been there,
Yeah.
they know the club X way. It seems like an arbitrary concept, but you've heard of things like the Man United way or the Liverpool way or the Arsenal way or whatever. So I guess there is something to be said for that. That could be another reason. I mean, it does feel a bit like we are clutching at straws a little bit in terms of why I don't want to provide a sort of color it with my opinion of whether it's right or not. But yeah, for me, this is a topic which I have some opinions on. I don't know if it does seem like owners are looking at the wrong reasons and sort of appointing these managers for the wrong reasons, and they're kind of yeah. I probably will discuss more.
Yeah, I
We have
think
other
one of the
questions.
I
reasons.
I was just going to ask Purav actually. Would do you think? I mean, obviously Avinash touched on the whole, the club's way of actually playing football and stuff. Do you think Steven Gerrard, if he were to be the manager of Liverpool, would they be playing with the Liverpool kind of way, a Liverpool way?
So for Steven Gerrard case, right? I think because he has now Rangers experience of winning the league and playing in Europa League, reaching almost till quarterfinals. So I'm pretty sure Steven Gerrard would be ready to do the job if he's asked. But I wouldn't risk his legacy right now because we still have a couple of years of Jurgen Klopp for sure, right? So I would rather have Steven Gerrard get more experience, maybe take Rangers to Champions League, get that kind of experience on his resume, play international quality teams. And in 2024, whenever that's ready, when his job is his. But one of the points that I wanted to make was why would an owner try to sign an ex-player in the middle of the season is just to steady the ship, just
Yeah.
if the
Yeah,
ex-manager has lost the dressing room, if the players are not on the same page, fans are kind of
That's a
abusing
good
the
point.
players in the
disgruntled.
stadium.
Yep.
Yeah, so just to calm things down, and we did that successfully with Kenny Dalglish when Hodgson, the worst Liverpool manager in my lifetime, he kind
Yeah.
of sunk
Oh,
Liverpool to relegation. Like we were literally in relegation zone in middle of December. Like it was that bad. And Kenny Dalglish just came in and put a smile on everyone's face. We knew that whenever Kenny was there, like it will be okay. And that kind of feeling helps, bring the enthusiasm back in the crowd.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Sort of the negative
Yeah.
part of it, I
Yeah,
feel
just the
is
toxic, the toxicity will just go on and explode, right? So just to contain it for like 6 months, 8 months, whatever it is, and calm the fans down and let it ease.
Yep.
Yep. I think that's a really good point.
the
Uh,
other sort of the
move-
negative, I feel like not a negative term, but more sort of insidious reason of why an owner would do it is because sometimes they are soft targets. I feel like they wouldn't ask for a lot. Like it's a lot of times if it's like a first managerial job that they are holding, say like an Arteta or a Lampard, they might be easily bendable. I feel for the clubs to that to
That's actually a good
yeah.
point. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that is what I think Avinash mentioned about
Yeah.
being yes men.
Right.
So yeah, I think
Yeah.
they're like more of yes men's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So
Do we?
So moving on to our next segment. So what value does an ex-player bring as a manager? And in like he obviously he doesn't have the experience as such or the experience of winning trophies that is. So Avinash, what do you think? What's your take on what kind of value are we looking at over here?
yeah, I think that's a good segue from what Pura was saying. So for me, that's the main value. What I so when you think about value, you have to think of it as why would I hire an ex-player? All else being the same, like they have the same experience, they have the same background, an ex-player versus somebody who has not played for the club, right? So for me, the fans thing is the main thing because at the end of the day, the synergy between fans and the manager is one of the most important things because if that is broken, I think there is no way. It's a situation which is not salvageable, and ultimately, that is why it could be like in the middle of the season. Yes, when things are fractured, it makes it even more important that the fans are on board with the manager. But even otherwise, even if you're hiring somebody to start off a season, or not just to steady the ship, but if you're going to go in a certain direction, if you want to take the club with a new philosophy or whatever, it just adds an extra layer to that by having sort of a club icon. And it also helps there is also football, there is a lot of romanticism associated with football in general. People write all these stories, and people love stories.
Yep.
It's
And
kind of,
fairy tales.
it's
Do
become.
you
Fairy tales.
think that can attract maybe more fans? I mean, in the sense like new fans, because it's like already when an ex-player joins,
Yeah.
like I said, big media story, right? And then those long articles about how good the player was, or how well he has done in the past. Do you think that can itself add value to like new fans coming and looking at, let's say, PL, right, Premier League? Do you think that will add something for the new fans to like,
Sort of a continuation.
what do you say, uh, relate to, yeah, and then become fans of the clubs? Like basically
Yeah.
more better marketability.
Yeah, isn't
Go ahead,
that,
go ahead.
so yeah, I think there is definitely a bit of that. And also one more thing that I wanted to add was the fact that, like, I think I think it is even from the player management side of things. I think it is easier for player to respect an legend of the club, and we have seen with, like, at least I feel with Ole or Pep in Barcelona. I think they could manage the players well, because they have a certain amount of respect. They draw a certain amount of respect, and I think that goes with fans also, because a lot of people, I think, including some of us on the panel, probably started supporting a club because of a player, and then it translates into, at least I did. So, and then, yeah, if that player turns into a managerial role, probably, yeah, you just are wishing for the best for that role as well for that player. So yeah, I think that's a good point.
Nisarg, just to build off of what you just mentioned, you mentioned about the fact that when you appoint an ex-player, they obviously have the respect of the current squad players. Does that tie into man management in a way? Because
Yeah,
if we were to look at for United, for an example, if we went from Mourinho to Ole Gunnar, who apparently Mourinho lost the dressing room. His man management skills have been very questionable in whatever appointments he's had so far, but he was a proven serial winner. And then we had Ole. So was that appointment for the fans as well as for the players themselves, in
yeah,
order
I
so
think
that
so.
the play, like, for example, we don't lose players like Pogba, Martial. I think once Oli came in, we ended up signing a lot of those players back on contracts.
Yeah,
So don't. I mean, that was my take on it. I mean, I think the man management aspect.
that's true. I do agree with that. I think there is that man management aspect that is at least easier to begin with. Probably it will fade away if they don't perform, which probably we'll go into in the next question. But yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Actually,
Yeah,
that
I want
is
to
a
pick
good.
up on what
Oh,
Yash
sure,
said.
sure, sure. Go ahead, Abhinav.
I just want to pick up on what Yash said. So yeah, that's where I was talking about sort of the romanticism of the club, and just the thought of, let's say, Steven Gerrard comes back to Liverpool and wins a European Cup with them. That creates a story, right? And stories are
Yeah,
what people almost crave when they want to support, or they're looking for a football club to support. If
I agree.
it's either a fallen giant who comes back and suddenly they
True.
start winning titles, or a former player takes the club to new heights or whatever. So those are the kind of things that people like to get behind. So yes, I think in that sense it can help. It's all about the image essentially of the club. So
Mhm.
that's kind of something which is not very tangible, but
And
I think there is something to be said for that.
And
Mm,
just one more thing I think to add, since the player is himself played for the club, he brings that passion. And sometimes when you say that you lead by example, so if the manager himself is showing that sort of passion for the team, for the club, I think the players start to notice that, and then they kind of start following that footsteps. So that's one another key value that a manager can, like an ex-player can bring to the club as a manager.
And sometimes I feel like it's sometimes just a continuity thing also, right? Like sometimes, like the managerial assignment is so immediate that he's technically managing the set of players that he was playing with just like few years back or something like that. So that sort of eases or helps in the transition also. I feel like he understands the player, so he sort of brings that, he knows the thought process upfront. He brings that into back to the club, and it's easy. He has played with him, so he knows the strengths and weaknesses of some of the players. So
True.
it's easier also, I feel. But yeah.
Yeah, I
just to
think
play. Sorry, go ahead.
no, I think it also helps in getting better transfers also, right? Like having a manager like Zidane, that personality, right? World Cup winning and multiple Champions League and league winning for Real Madrid, and he's still at the club. So I think any young French player, right, whose idol is Zidane, he would love to play there. So that kind
Yeah.
of aura that ex-player has as a capacity as a manager, I think it really helps in bringing in high quality players like Steve Gerrard, right? I think I remember Brendan Rodgers said once that he used to ask Steve Gerrard to text Tony
He
Cruz
asked
and
to
all
text
these
Tony
players
Kroos.
to try to entice them because Brendan Rodgers knows, right? Like Steve Gerrard has a name in the
Yeah.
in the
He thinks
footballing
he
world.
had more of a pull than Rodgers.
Exactly, yeah. And him as
True.
a
True.
manager of Liverpool, I'm pretty sure even now players would still want to get to learn from him, right?
Yeah, I think the key point here is legend. It's
Yeah,
okay to appoint an ex-player as long as they have a certain status with the club.
correct. Yeah,
Only
yeah,
then,
I
all of the
agree.
things that we said are valid only
So
then.
Yash, who
yeah,
would be
yeah.
your
You need
pick?
a Zidane or a Gerrard
Who
for
will
that.
be
Yeah.
your pick, Yash, for City? I don't think we have a legend.
Yeah,
Certified
I think
City
City can
legend.
be excluded from this discussion.
Company,
So
company.
Company
nah,
stop.
yeah. I would go with
Oh
Vincent
wow,
Company
Sheldon, you
any
are
day.
helping out the City fan.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
okay.
Well,
Teamwork.
I can
Points for
count
team.
like one or two. Anyways, you know what? I know we've talked about the fact that the kind of value each ex player, the good stuff. I just to play devil's advocate right now. I was just wondering, don't you feel that when you have a player, ex player managing, and for instance they continue to have a series of bad results, I feel that that romantic aspect of football kind of comes in, and then the fans tend to go a little bit extra and back that ex player rather than give a regular manager who doesn't have any romantic ties to the club that much of patience. So don't you feel that's a little that's a negative aspect of that a value of value an ex player would bring to that club in that sense? I don't know. It's free fall.
Like,
Does anyone agree?
I think that's what the owners. That's what we discussed.
yeah.
That's why the
Oh,
owners
okay.
like to appoint ex-players in a way, so that they're kind of
Yeah.
insulated
Gotta take some slack for
from the
themselves.
fans' wrath, if you like.
Yeah.
So for the owners, yes, there is value in that. But as a fan, yeah, I think
I
it
mean, fans
makes it
get
very
duped as
tricky.
well. That's what I mean.
As a fan, for me, it would make it very tricky. If it's not working out, um, and you have a club legend, I saw this a lot with Chelsea fans with Lampard because everybody else could see that it wasn't going well for him. But I've
Yeah.
hardly heard of a Chelsea fan who has anything to say against Lampard, even after what Tuchel has done. They still are not ready to admit that. A lot of them are still not ready to admit that it was the right decision. It's almost like the elephant in the room now. They'd rather not talk about it.
Exactly.
But in their heart of hearts, they know that he probably wasn't the right appointment, or at least at this stage. He may well go on to be a very good manager. But at that particular stage, he was in his career. I don't think it was the right appointment, but it made it very difficult for the fans, the situation, when they were in that bad run of form, having spent what they did in the summer. So, yeah, in that sense, probably, which would
Yeah.
probably is a good segue into the next
Yeah.
question,
The next
which I think
question.
is the most important.
Yeah, exactly. Which is the fact that does an ex player need to have a good resume uh, to be appointed for at least at the big clubs, at the ones that we've been talking about. Yash, do you have a take on this?
Yeah, in the sense that I would say that good resume, by that I mean he should have at least some sort of, managerial background. It can be with like the youth team, or maybe he has been on the pitch side, on the touchline with an actual manager and just shadowing him. So I do feel that, yeah, some sort of background does give you um, that extra, understanding of how the club wants to, move forward. uh, so in my opinion, that would definitely be good to have. It doesn't necessarily mean that, yeah, you need to win some trophies, at least in my books. As long as you can you have shown with the, let's say, the side B or the B team, and you have shown that, yeah, you have that man management skills, or be it that tactical awareness. uh, I think that that would be a plus, basically, to have. I don't know what you guys have
So
or think about it.
I sort of have like an exactly opposite view of that. I feel coming from let's say an Arsenal, appointing an Arteta, right? He did have a bit of a Man City experience being an assistant coach, but I felt like experiences at top level, playing or managing teams also. Say someone like a Pochettino, like he doesn't have trophies or whatever, but we know what kind of play that he can pull. Like he's a good manager for sure. He doesn't have trophies, but he at least has gone through the churn to be a good manager. Sure, Arteta, there is a point where he technically won an FA Cup after coming into job for 3 months, but still that doesn't qualify in my mind to be at helm for at a big club. There should be a proven talent, or sorry, proven sort of trophy or resume uh, before that person is sort of pulled in as a manager of the club. I feel there should be something like, to go on to. There should be some data.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
from here, yeah, go ahead, sir.
Oh, I was actually going to just agree with Rahul on that sense, because Yash mentioned about the fact that you need to have some sort of experience in the B team or youth team setup of that club in order to kind of to help you graduate into that manager sort of position. Oli Gunnar Solskjaer was managing the youth team at some point. He like players like Pogba, Lingard, and used to play under him. So he had that experience. He went out. He managed quite a few clubs, and then he came back. And he's a lot of people say that he wouldn't have gone. He wouldn't have had the job based on his credentials or whatever. It was purely the fact that the sentiment surrounding the club, which kind of got him that interim appointment. So it's I don't know. I feel like you need to have a good. When I think of good resume, I feel like you need to have like winning medals at a top
See,
level of some sort.
see, I feel at some point of time, when you say good resume, I mean, if success, like trophies, will definitely prove the point that, yes, the manager has proved himself and he is good. But what I meant to say is, like, like, for example, when you mention Ole, right? Ole at United, uh, at some level, I feel it's also the mistake of the board, that if they don't see that what he has done, like, I mean, if as a youth team manager, if he has not shown any tactical, let's say, awareness or tactical know-hows, then it's at some degree mistake of the board as well, correct? So I wouldn't say that winning or success is the only measure. It is definitely, it drives the point home that, yeah, he has basically proven himself, and that's why he's a good candidate. But after all, it also depends on what the board see in the manager, and whether they are happy with what he has shown.
I think Ole is in a slightly different position to a lot of these ex-managers because he's not he doesn't have a proven track record, but then he has been managing for a long time, as opposed to like an Arteta or a Lampard who didn't have that much. They had limited experience, or even I know where Yash is coming from, right? He's probably referring to Pep because Pep was
No,
promoted
no,
Yeah.
no.
from the youth team.
What I mean to
No,
say is, yeah, go ahead, Avinash.
no,
Finish
that's
your
fair. Yeah,
finish your point.
but yeah, for me, when I say resume, I think we are assuming that, at least I am assuming that it means a track record at the top level, managing a top flight club, managing in Europe. It need not be winning trophies necessarily. Rahul brought up Pochettino. Like Pochettino for me has a solid track record because what he has done at Espanyol, he had them
Yeah,
overachieving. At Tottenham, getting them into the top four, getting them into the Champions League final. That was, for me, Pochettino is one of the top three managers in the world just based off that, even though he's not won any trophies. So for me,
agree.
it is absolutely essential. I know there are certain cases where it has worked, like Pep, like Zidane. Zidane is probably, we still don't know because the jury is a little bit out on him. He had an incredible squad at his disposal. You could say probably anyone could manage it. For me, it was just about a case of managing egos, probably. But for me, yeah, I absolutely, you need to have, based on which club you are at, it doesn't have to be trophies. Like I said, based on which club you're at, relative to that level. Like if you take over Southampton, for example, if you have them pushing for the top six, qualifying for Europe, going to the quarterfinal or semi-final of the Europa League, for me that would be a good track record. So you need to have achieved something. You need to be ready for the job, essentially, be it tactics wise, be it man management wise, dealing with the media, because there's so many things that you have to do as a manager, right? It's an incredibly difficult job. You're the face of the club.
As in,
uh,
yeah, just to counter that point, as in one thing I personally feel, as in like if you have such stringent requirements, your pool for selection would be so small. As in,
Yeah.
like, so either you would go to these historic managers who have done it, like not so much in the recent past, but in the like
yeah,
further past, and then you enter the realm of having very historic tactics and old tactics coming
like
back.
Ancelotti, Mourinho.
Yeah, like Ancelotti and Mourinho, which also is not something that the fans would like. So I feel like that is why probably taking a punt with an ex-player is probably the only way out. The hope is it works out. Because like you literally can count on your fingers like managers who have proven in recent past that they are tactically astute. And as you said, right, it is a lot more like language barriers, things like that come into like dependent on which country you are going to, especially in Premier League. Uh, so I feel that the pool anyways is very small, and like if you go by just resumes, I don't
So,
think so you'll have enough candidates to pick
so
from.
that's sort of one question that I wanted to ask everyone, which Nisarg sort of went on. Like each one of you, like one player, without giving any reason, who do you guys think should be the manager? Your ex-player, like the club that you support, an ex-player, who should be the manager? Just say the name, Sheldon.
That's actually a very tricky question because I don't know if
Just
there's anyone out there who's.
just right.
But I would give it
Anyone
to.
but Oli.
Yeah. At this point, yeah, because I don't know. I think Ryan Giggs, because he's the only other player who's been managing Wales pretty well in a way. But then there's a caveat to that. I would
No
pair
caveat,
him up
Sheldon.
with say and no, no, wait, listen. I would pair him up with a Evra for director of football. In that sense, I think that plays a huge part in the how a manager would want to play with the players he wants to bring in and so on. So I don't know if Ollie's got that liberty just yet. So, but then he hasn't proven much with the people he's had. Anyways, I would turn on to Purav. What do you think?
I think the answer is no.
Gerard, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we have like only two ex-players who are in path for management. One is Xabi Alonso and the other is
Oh
Steven.
yeah. But
And
yeah,
Alonso
same thing.
also,
Go
yeah, he
on.
is not. He was, I think, assistant manager in Real Sociedad, so he's not yet there. So I think Steven
Okay.
Gerrard.
But
Mönchengladbach, but
it's an
anyway.
open-ended question.
Yeah,
Any manager, it doesn't matter if it's a current manager or not.
No, I think we can stick to the former player thing because since that's the topic of the.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Purab. Yeah, you were saying Gerard. Do you have
yeah,
anything?
Gerrard, like, is a no-brainer for me. Like, Probably the next Liverpool manager, 2024.
Yeah. I would like to caveat that I'd love Steven Gerrard to become manager because of some of the things that we discussed. But like I said, for me, he's done great things with Rangers, but I'd like to see him at a Premier League club, like I was mentioning, like a Southampton, like a Leicester. It doesn't have to be a top Premier League club. Achieving something, getting into the top 6, getting into the top 4, doing something in Europe, because for me, that's the DNA of Liverpool. European achievement. Without European pedigree, I wouldn't even consider a manager. Like even Brendan Rodgers, for me, his European pedigree is not good enough. Like even now, he went out with Slavia Prague, and we all know the B team that he selected against Real Madrid. That's an absolute no-no.
Yeah.
So yeah, Steven Gerrard with that particular caveat. So for me, I would still like that. I come back to the same point. There is value, but with a certain level of resume or credentials.
Yash.
I would pick Company just for like the sheer leadership of like what he brought to us, right? In terms of the monumental, I think he was one of the key players for 2012, the first title that we won. And I think that sort of leadership skills is what I would look for to begin with. And I think he's also doing decent at Anderlecht right now. So I would not bring him right away as a first team manager, but maybe he can start to, come in and maybe learn under Pep while he is here. But Company would be my first choice.
Gotcha. And Nisarg, to round it up.
Rahul is still left, but yeah, for me, my pick would be Wayne Rooney, maybe. Yeah, because like I really like him as a character. I think, as in one thing that I see missing in United is the tenacity. I just feel that one element of his like just like inspiring players might be what United needs right now. And I guess
I'm surprised United players didn't pick Scholes at all. I mean,
no, Scholes hasn't
looking at his punditry, I would not, oh my god, it's horrible. I would never pick it.
It's like Michael Owen becoming manager for us.
Not only that, I think he was appointed manager for like one day or something, and he stopped. He gave up. He resigned from the job. So yeah,
I remember that. Yes.
Yeah. Rahul, you have to do your pick also.
Rahul will pick Henry, man.
So for me, it's more of a romantic pick. It can go either the Pep way or the Lampard way, or Fabregas maybe. Whenever he
Fabregas.
I mean, does he even? He has that. He carried Arsenal when Arsenal was properly in the dumps. The type of player he used to carry the team. He is good technically, I feel. He has played at big clubs at Barcelona and all. Under Pep.
And don't forget how young he was. Right. I think when he started performing at Arsenal,
he was the captain at an age
18 years of age. And
right. So it's more of a romantic pick, and it can go either Pep way or the Lampard way. But I would.
It looks like ex-midfielders make better coaches as compared to strikers. So.
I think they have a good.
They read the game better, I guess.
I think the more in tune with the tactical demands of the game, right?
Yeah, that's true.
That's kind of where that comes from.
Yeah, but like if any of the viewers can sort of list their pick, that'd be great to discuss.
And give your opinion on what you think about former players. I think the consensus that we reached was, yes, we would like that as long as, whatever.
Yeah.
Some caveats. Each person probably has their own, but.
Yes, that's true.
Probably a consensus discussion. But yeah, do get in the comments and let us know what you think.
Yeah, let us know what you think in the comments below. And I just wanted to get a quick round the horn as to yes or no as to for ex-player managing the club, your club at this point in time. Nisarg, what do you feel?
Yes.
Yash?
Yes.
Avinash?
No, there's nobody out there. Not right now.
Rahul?
Yeah.
Purav? No.
What about you?
No. Oh.
No, right?
No, I'm a definite no. So, it's good because we have 3 yeses and 3 no's, which is a very balanced view of thinking. Anyways, You know what, to our viewers, let us know what you think in the comments below. Like, would you personally like your ex-player to manage your club? And yeah, till then, stay tuned for an exciting and another debate-worthy video until next week. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.